Welcome back everyone to a new video, and in today's video we'll be looking at one of the most unfortunate runs I have ever had in my life playing zombies. It all started around a week ago, where I was casually playing Terminus and decided, you know what, it would be cool to do a round 100 Terminus video. I'm sure my community would love to see that. But then after getting to round 100 and watching another fellow zombies YouTuber, Insomnivirus, live stream his round 256 on Liberty Falls, I wondered to myself, has anyone gotten to round cap on Terminus yet? And the answer was, yes, unfortunately so. Well, that's fine. I'll aim for second place then. And what you're about to see is the story of that stupid thought. So kick your feet back, get some popcorn, if it's the sweet buttery type the better, and enjoy the story of how I nearly got to round 256 on Terminus Island. So to start off our story, we see our main protagonist, me, loading into the dreaded game, and at this point in time I wasn't the wiser to what was to come. So off I go, turning on the first amp generator using the XM4 for my starting loadout. That's because I only had good attachments for this gun. Anyway, after turning on the first power generator, off I went down the stairs and into the armory. But I didn't have a key and was just looking around. That was because it was my first time there. So after I got outside, I picked up my first perk, Stamina Up on round 3. What an incredible start, some would say. And again, this run wasn't meant to be the round cap run, just a normal round 100. So if you think I was going slow, well, that's because I was. So off I went to the second amp generator, where shortly after completing it, I pick up my favourite perk, Juggernaut. And I don't know if you have noticed, but if we zoom in very close to our HUD, I didn't have equipped Jug's extra 50 HP augment. And that was because this was my first ever game of Terminus, and I previously only played one game of Liberty Falls, so I didn't have many augments. But that didn't bother me in the slightest, so I decided to stay in this little area to trade and gain points. That was until I got even more lucky with a lovely ray gun on round 8. Yes, you heard me. Round 8. No need for that one gubblegum. With the ray gun in hand, I felt a lot more secure and at ease. And I decided to go for the final lamp generator. And after completing the final lamp generator, we are done. There wasn't much more to do. Well, except to get to round 256, I guess. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. To be honest with you guys, I still didn't even know that. So with the power on, I quickly get a Pack-a-Punch up and ready and pack the ray gun and the XM4. Now, skipping ahead a little bit more, we can see me getting my next perk. The one, the only Deadshot Daiquiri. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I think Deadshot has had one of the biggest perk nerfs of all time. Like, I know I don't have any augments for it, but it just doesn't do that much damage, which makes the game harder. So if that's what they were intending, I guess it's cool with me. Now we get to the point in game where all I was after was the wonder weapon, because just like Liberty Falls, I didn't know the steps, because they weren't out yet, to make the bloody gun. And I'ma tell you, I've never hit the box to get one single gun this much in my life. And I won't spoil when I get it, as that's going to be later in the video. I will say it was a few rounds less than the jet gun on Liberty Falls, but because this map is so freaking huge, it took way longer to get. But let's not get ahead of ourselves too much, and let's get back to where I am now, for the first time figuring out how the third level of armor works. Because if you didn't notice, in my round 100 Liberty Falls game, I never got third tier armor, because I didn't know where purple armor wallby was. But this time, when going to Crab Island, I found it, and that's when it clicked. I was like, oh, maybe there's a purple one on Liberty Falls, and right I was about that. But back to the grind I went, staying in this area, aiming for fire sales, or saving enough points to go and hit the box for the wonder weapon. Where in round 28, I get quick revive, finally another perk, and that's when I start to look at the map and try and figure out where the hell the wonder fizz was at. And after a really intense stare, my Where's Waldo experience came in handy, as I was easily able to find the wonder fizz, and off I went on my epic journey to get my perks. Running down, hopping on a boat, trying not to get killed by Patient 13, or as I called him before we knew his name, Mr. Tentacle. So now on the boat, after not getting killed by Mr. Tentacle, I grabbed all the perks I needed, and I repeat, I grabbed all the perks I needed. Screw you, Mealy Macchiato, I don't even like coffee. And now a quiz. Where do I go now? Do I A, go back to training at that one spot? Do I B, go and find the mystery box? Do I C, leave the game? Or D, do I go and find a new cool spot to train? And if you've been paying attention, you have probably answered A. But you were wrong. I actually went to the mystery box to try and get the wonder weapon, and then go back to training at that one spot. You guys were so close, but not even the best of the best players could figure out what happens inside of my brain when playing zombies. So back I went to the training spot, and now, finally, we get to the part we've all been waiting for. The time I finally got the wonder weapon. So I get the BEANsmasher by round 39, and again, super late one, but at least I've got it, and I went straight to pack-a-punch in this bad boy. And I'ma give you my honest first opinion on the gun, and what I think of it now after using it. So my first opinion on it was hot garbage. It's a trash wonder weapon that barely does any damage to the zombies, and I would rather use the ray gun. And now, me as writing this, want to say I've made a severe lapse in my judgment and was way too quick on hating this gun. I didn't like it when it was revealed, thought it looked weak, and that's the thoughts that I want to believe. I wanted to be right, but sadly I was wrong. I know, Starkly Plays, the guy who's never wrong, admits he was wrong, and the BEANsmasher is one of, if not the most overpowered weapon in zombies history. And look, many of you won't believe me, and honestly, I can't even believe myself I'm saying those words out my mouth. But listen, when deciding if a gun is good or bad, you first have to look at a lot of things. But because we are making a gun review, I'll keep it to some simple things that I want to talk about. One is the map it is on, two, the killing power it has, and finally the abilities it has. So when it comes to the map, the wonder weapon needs to fit the map. You can have an amazing wonder weapon, but if it doesn't work with the map, it's probably going to be shit. And on this point, the gun works really, and I mean really well on this map. So much so that you can, which I do in this game, and I'm not sure if for the leaderboard it's 100% valid, and that is using it to exploit the zombies' AI. But we'll get to that when I'm talking about the strat I use. Second, its killing capability. And this is where I say, because of the game it is on, it is technically not an infinite damage weapon, and it doesn't need to be, as we have zombies with health cap, and it does kill zombies especially fast. And finally, its abilities, with the first one being a stun and the second being a laser. The way you're supposed to use this gun is by stunning them first and then shooting them to do extra damage, as without the stun it really isn't that effective. And let me tell you, the stun ability on its own is what makes the gun god tier. Just think about it. We are in a game where super sprinters exist, and it's hard to even get a second break from them. They also hit you super fast. Even if you slide, they will still get you. And this gun can stun them. And once stunned, they start to move slower for a certain amount of time. And listen, if it was just that, I wouldn't call it a god tier wonder weapon, and more of a meh kind of wonder weapon. But let me tell you, you are using this gun wrong. Let me break it down for you in slow motion. When we use the stun ability, the first few seconds you use it, the zombies will briefly stop and then start to move slow. And we can abuse the shit out of that by constantly spamming the weapon, making them stop for a super long time, and once they are in a stunned state, they can't throw shit, hit you, or even move. And that is the magic of this weapon, which we will be when it comes to the training strat. And you know what? I think it's time we actually go ahead and talk about how I exploited the zombies AI for my training strat. That is so OP, you'll barely die when done correctly. So let's start here. Let's start here on round 48 on Temple Island. Now, the main reason I like Temple Island compared to the other ones is that the manglers can only spawn out of one window, because there is only one window. And even though there are a lot of zombie spawns, there's a lot of beach and water, which makes training here quite easy with the wonder weapon. Currently we don't have full sprinters, so it's still very easy, but when we get to the later rounds, the wonder weapon is 100% necessary to even be able to train here. And now is the time in the video where I give you guys my explanation of exploiting the zombies AI. So I don't know if you guys remember Cold War, but there used to be, at the beginning, many places where you could mantle on and the zombies couldn't hit you, basically giving you God mode. And one solution Treyarch gave for that is that if you're in a position where the zombies can't reach you, they will stop as close as the last position they saw you in and start throwing a piece of their bodies at you. And well, technically, the water is a spot they can't reach you, even if you have one toe in the water. So if you run on the side of the edges, you can exploit this, as it's really hard, but not impossible, for them to hit you. And even if they did, all you have to do is start swimming, as they don't know what to do. But as I told you, here's a clip of me dying even though I dove into the water. But honestly, that was kind of my fault. And now, pair the zombies AI stopping and throwing their body parts at you with the wonder weapon stunning them, and boy oh boy do you have a cocktail of invincibility. Here's some of the things you can do pairing the two of them together. Start the montage. So with that, now you know how I can move around without getting hit. But honestly, this is only like half of the strat, as the other half involves everyone's favourite score streak, the mutant injector. As there is only one window on this island, all I have to do is go with a bunch of zombies, and when spawning in, killing them all the manglers start to appear. The reason I like this island is after finishing the mutant injector, there's a lot of ways to run, and if I'm unlucky in getting an extra mutant injector, all I have to do is hop on a boat, off I go sailing the 7 seas to Crab Island to buy a new one. Rinse and repeat, and you'll be getting to around 256 in no time. Well, 30 hours more or less. The only problem I have with this strat is I don't know how accepted it is by the community. Like I said, this is my second game of BO6 and a lot of these strats weren't discovered yet, except the mutant injector one. But the next time I aim for 256 on Terminus, when I finally get my internet fixed, I will ask you guys to see what the general community thinks about it before deciding on doing the strat or a different one. But for today's video, that's what I did, and slowly but surely I was getting there. Here's a little time lapse with more or less the time it took, excluding long breaks. And now, the time you've all been waiting for, the end of the story. And honestly, I wanted this to be an underdog story, like how I, Starkly Plays, was second to reach the round cap on Terminus. But instead it's turned into a sad story with a tragic end. And now it's how I, Starkly Played, sadly never reached round 256 on Terminus. So let us all have a few seconds of silence and watch this play out in real time. And to all of you who are wondering what I was saying or thinking at the moment this happened, here's a formal rendition of the things I said. And with that, Starkly Plays never did get to round 256 on Terminus Island. He sadly died so close, yet still so far from the goal, thanks to the higher powers at play. He wishes you to like, comment and subscribe to help him recover from this devastating blow. And now the question looming over everyone's heads, is this the end? Will we ever see him try it again? Is there any reason to go for it? Well, as any good story, I'll leave it up for you to decide.